The final segment of the show is upon us. Gentlemen, I will drop a statement. You're going to agree by saying straight facts. You'll tell me why, or you'll say, bro, relax if you disagree. And Maddie, of course, one of the hottest teams in Major League Baseball right now appears to be the Colorado Rockies. I mean, who'd have thought that? I mean, they swept the Miami Marlins, but what that last check, what are they, 13 and 50, 51? I mean, they're just an absolute atrocious. And there are a lot of teams, not only in baseball, but I mean, there are teams that are out there that is just a money loser for these sports books. Are we going to see a time where certain teams are not going to be included in sports betting because they are that bad? So Matt, online sports books will remove certain teams from betting in the future because of their futility. Straight facts or bro relax?
I'm going to go bro relax on that one. If you're just talking like a money line or a spread, then I guess maybe there's a potential. But to completely remove a team and that then includes all of the players and all of the props that go with the players as a sports bettor, I don't think they're losing as much as we might think they are because there's still props to be had. There are still players who play well even though their teams lose. There are still pitchers in baseball who pitch a great game, but they still lose 1-0 because they gave up one home run in the first inning. Other than that, he pitched lights out for 6 innings straight. I mean, I don't know that they're necessarily going to ban a team in general unless I don't even know how they would figure out the mechanics of that because you would still have to be able to have the player props, which is included in having that team available to you.
Sure. So I'm assuming that you haven't put any Benjamins down for the Rockies or the Athletics or any of those teams there.
No, I did. I do hit some prop bets on some of those teams. If anything, I can't say that I have won any bet that said the Colorado Rockies were going to win a game. I have not bet on them to win a game yet, and I would have been wrong all of 13 times. So I'd be quite profitable had I taken them to lose 54 times. So
yeah, for sure. Maybe you know what? Maybe I'll pick a day and I'll put $20 down for the Rockies to win. We'll see what
I'll tell you
happens. I'll
what,
let you guys.
depending on what day and what team you catch them on, you might get some good odds on that. Because I mean,
Yeah,
like you said, Vegas knows which ones are the quote unquote guaranteed winners, guaranteed losers. You know, Vegas sets those lines. They know the numbers and everything behind it. We're guessing over here, but
yeah,
I don't see a way that they can completely remove a team and have because then you also have to remove the team that they're playing against.
sure.
So, you know, you have one good team. Let's take my team, the Yankees. They're on a hot streak right now. I want to bet on my team, but now I can't because they're playing the Rockies and we've removed them completely from the picture. So
Right.
there's still a lot of money to be made out there. And honestly, there are still those diehard fans who are going to bet and lose knowing that that team's not going to win, but they're still going to make a bet on it anyway. I think it almost levels itself out. You have some teams that are really on fire and all their players are hitting their props, and then you have one team who's just none of their guys are doing anything. Maybe it just evens itself out.
Maybe. You know, Tony, of course, Leafs Nation is waiting to see what's going to take place with Mitch Marner. July 1st will probably be the day when Leafs fans and the hockey world will know what Marner's plans are. The consensus seems to be that Marner did play his last game as a Toronto Maple Leaf. And if that is the case, you'd have to think that he is an elite level player where he could perhaps lead a team. Could he perhaps have the wherewithal to be a captain? Of course, if he does sign elsewhere from the Toronto Maple Leafs. Mitch Marner will be a captain of said hockey team before the start of the 27-28 season. Straight facts, bro. Relax.
I say, bro, relax. I say you probably have a better chance of Joe Biden running for president again than that happening.
Really, you think so? I mean,
I do
because
think so. I just don't think he's captain material. I don't think he has, and this has got nothing to do with his game. It doesn't feel like he has the mental makeup for that kind of role, even if it is for a market that obviously doesn't have the kind of attention that you get in Toronto. I don't think he's made for that.
well,
I just don't. It's just I think he's too sensitive for him to be in that kind of position.
well, you know what? I'm not saying that I'm made of steel myself. Like I'm a, you know, it's a little difficult for me to take a joke per se, but I think I'd be right there with Mitch in terms of the media. Like, I mean, do you say one thing the wrong way, and especially in a hockey market like Toronto, it's taken 10 different ways. And I mean, I wonder what he is like in a room. And I mean, who knows if he does go to a team that's on the rise, like if he goes to, say, Chicago. Are they automatically going to get? I can't remember who the captain is right now for the Blackhawks, but
Foligno.
it's Nick Foligno. So,
Right.
I mean, between Foligno, Bedard, let's say Marner lands there, I think that Marner's going to be a lock. But anyway,
Lock is a heavy word. A heavy
yeah,
word.
it is. It is for sure. For sure.
Also, is he intrigued by Chicago? Like, I would think he'd want to go with a team that's a contender, right?
No, yeah, you think,
winning? They've been god awful for a long time.
but sure. And Marner is not 30 yet. Maybe it takes a couple of years. You never know. I mean, like what kind of teams that are leading the way right now in terms of potentially landing a guy like Mitch Marner? You think with a guy like Connor Bedard, is it possible that Marner could be that help that Bedard needs because he's just absolutely drowning in Chicago? I mean, is Detroit a possibility? Buffalo? Who knows?
I can tell you right now, if the Flyers were to ever concoct a deal where they would get Mitch Marner, which I know is not necessarily an option, but God forbid they were to ever do that, he would instantly be a captain because Matvei Michkov, as good of a player as he is not ready to take on that captain role yet. But you pair the two of them together, and that could be a dangerous combination. So I think for his captain status, I kind of feel like it depends on where he would wind up specifically.
I gotta wonder what would be tougher, the Philadelphia sports media scene or the Toronto hockey media scene. I wonder if because Marner and the media, like Marner, just you could see how uncomfortable he is with the media here in Toronto. And I don't know, Tony, like is the Leafs media, Toronto media, really that bad? I mean, the team has not won a playoff series. They went all those years. They still can't make the conference finals. They haven't won a cup in 58 years. Like, I don't really think it's that bad. And from what I hear, like, and what sports fans hear all over the place, Maddie, I mean, Philadelphia sports media is just the Philadelphia sports scene is an absolute, yeah, it's madness.
If he doesn't do well with, and that's why I said I'm not saying this is even remotely a possibility, but a team like Philadelphia would make him a captain more based on his veteran status, someone who can lead some of these younger guys because Flyers do have some draft capital and some salary coming up that they can work with. So I could see them giving him that captain status immediately if he were to land in a place like Philadelphia.
Interesting.
You can teach somebody how to talk to the media. You can train a player to handle and approach media a certain way to where it's not devastating to them or your team.
Yeah. And, well, I don't know how much of a coin flip it is with Marner staying or not, but wonder if he does have the ability to be a captain. Definitely know that Biden's not going to be able to run for president again. That's for sure. Neel, obviously we're seeing some sort of program in Oklahoma City. The Thunder, they had the best record in the regular season. They're coasting through the playoffs here. They appear to be a lock to win the NBA championship. And it's all with that nucleus beyond Holmgren, Shea, and Jalen Williams. You think about those role players, the Carusos, the Lou Dorts, and enter said player here.
Mhm.
And I do wonder if the camaraderie and the respect that those teammates have for each other would recognize that you don't need the supermax, but if you work together and build a foundation, maybe take a haircut on your salary, that they could have something really, really special there. Members of the Oklahoma City Thunder will not take max dollars when their respective contracts are up for the sole reason to keep that nucleus together. Straight facts or bro relax?
I would say bro relax on this one, but that doesn't mean they wouldn't help out the team. And one way, for example, Shea could do that right away is instead of waiting till next offseason to sign a 5-year, $380 million deal, he could sign a 4-year, $280 million year this year, which essentially shaves off a 1-year, $100 million contract. Like, what I'm trying to say is it will reduce his annual average salary by 10% of what he would get if he signed a year from now. So that it's like almost like the same as a 10% discount, one could argue. That is the type of way he still would get max dollars for the contract he could sign this offseason, but it would be a discount compared to what he could sign for longer years and much more money per year if he did it next year. I think he will sign this year. I think he's that type of guy that, hey, look, whether it's 69 or 70 million versus 77, 78 million, okay, I'll help the team by taking the money now. I'll lock it in. Look, he's worth every dollar, right? But when it comes down to now, look at Jalen Williams. We had this conversation before about what a supermax eligible type player is. Jalen Williams not only made all defensive second team, but he made all NBA third team. He's going to be up for maximum dollars in a couple of years. Chet Holmgren probably the same in a few 2-3 years. I think.
And are they max guys?
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, for sure, Jalen Williams is. Chet Holmgren.
They could lead a team to a championship.
Do you have to lead a team to be a max player? I could name about 20 max players that do not lead their teams right now.
That's exactly my point. Like, how many max player, like how many players period have that kind of pedigree to win a championship?
Well, these guys clearly do. I mean, you're talking about elite two-way players that are fantastic on both ends. All three of these core. And then Oklahoma City is so savvy. Sam Presti is so savvy that he has stockpiled so many picks, so much young talent that he can just have a rotating supporting cast about pick the best 5 guys. And unfortunately, if you're not in there, you're probably going to go out selling high, by the way. He's not going to sell any of these guys low. They're going to be sold high for guys on better contracts, veterans, draft capital. He's got draft capital to save money with. That draft capital can be worth a lot of money for guys taking on contracts and whatnot. So he's got a million ways to maneuver, and that's the genius of how he's built this team. Is he lucked out? Well, he played it perfectly, but he also sort of lucked out that Kawhi Leonard wanted to leave Toronto. Kawhi Leonard leaving Toronto led to the demand for Paul George, led to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams both coming in about 5 other first-round picks to Oklahoma City. So it's just been a masterful stroke of skill combined with some really good luck that has put them in this position. And usually teams need a combination of those to become dynasties, and that's what they're about to become. But get this. I bet you guys didn't actually know this. You know who started this all off, arguably, was Serge Ibaka, our very own Serge Ibaka, because Sam Presti traded Serge Ibaka for Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis, drafted Sabonis, traded Ibaka for Oladipo, then traded Sabonis and Oladipo for Paul George. We all know what happened there. So Serge Ibaka really should have his name on a wall somewhere in that Sam Presti's office with like a little garland over it, because he absolutely, so I'm just saying this is the long-term vision, and the vision is only half complete. Sam Presti has a vision that extends another 10 years from now that he thought about 10 years before now. And Sam Presti came from the R.C. Buford and Greg Popovich tree. So greats breeding greats. And now you're going to have guys that breed off of Sam Presti in the same way. And, this is a team that's here to stay, and they're going to be the team of the 2020s and beyond, possibly. But definitely the 2020s.
I do want to give a shout out to OKC, too, they got Hartenstein for next to nothing. They don't overly use him. They use him just enough to fill the hole. And they pay him for it, right. But he's almost he seems insignificant in some games, but then there are other games where he is so pivotal to just his body being on the floor, just his size, his rim presence being on the floor, that opens up players like Jalen and Chet to do the things that they do as two-way players.
Absolutely.
And I'm pretty sure it was the Knicks that he was with right before this, did not use him even remote. And you always wanted to have him tossed up between him and Robinson and this, that, and the other. OKC is using him 100% perfectly for where he is in his career.
And that's a great point. And then the other thing is, look, they traded Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso pretty much straight up. And Caruso is an essential piece of what is now manifesting as a championship team, and is going to be critical for the next couple of years during this three-peat attempt. And they traded Josh Giddey, who has actually played pretty good in Chicago, but wasn't a fit with this team any longer. And Sam Presti is not going to hesitate to ship guys out. Look, I see a world where, I don't think it'll happen, but if Chet Holmgren stops being the best option, I don't put it past Sam Presti to ship him out either. Although I do think that that's extremely unlikely. I think it's going to be these three, but he's going to mix and match around these three guys. If Chet Holmgren suddenly becomes an injury-prone type guy, let another team take a chance on him. There's so many things that he could do. And I don't think he's going to need to depend on pay cuts from these guys, despite the fact that OKC is a small market, despite the fact of all of that stuff. I think OKC players, they are the type of guys that love the game. They love their teammates. They love the camaraderie. They're built differently. I just don't see any egos on that team. I don't see any diva on that team. I see just guys who love ball, love each other, and love the game.
Well, that's my point.
That's my point. Yeah, but it doesn't mean they're going to take pay cuts. It might mean that they're willing to be flexible, like how I mentioned with Shea's contract coming up. That I can see.
Well, and if they do win that one championship this season or next season, for example, is it possible to try and max as much money as they can? So, Jake,
I just don't see any of them being greedy enough to do that. If it just from the fan perspective, because again, I'm not an OKC fan, but I'm just watching this team and the way they move up and down the court, the way they talk to each other on the benches. Right. I don't think any one of those guys are going to be that diva, like Neel said. There are no divas here on this team. Well, even when the media tries to make somebody, everyone is putting the spotlight on SGA, but he's still not that diva personality.
Matt, I have to say the reason why I was thinking about this is because when the players on the Thunder gathered for that picture with Josh Giddey when the Thunder played Chicago, there was just such an affection for Josh, and you could it did see, and now obviously Giddey does seem to have something cooking with the Bulls. But there was definitely an affection there. And if Sam Presti is as smart as we all think that he is, you have to think that that he's hammering the respect and the communication and the actual enjoyment that these guys have playing with each other that they may do like what the Detroit Red Wings did with Zetterberg and Datsuk, with Bergeron and Bergeron, Pasternak, and Krejci, getting all those star players for less than they could actually get out there. But it'd be interesting. Oklahoma City, they definitely have the potential for creating that rivalry, creating that dynasty. Finally, Jake, I have to say that one of my go-tos in terms of a quick laugh is hearing any sort of excerpt from Charles Barkley. Inside the NBA is just an absolute beauty, and this was their final season. And Charles Barkley is one of the reasons why, as well as Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny Smith, and Ernie Johnson. They are going to ESPN. Ernie Johnson ending a 35-plus year relationship with TNT Sports. But Charles Barkley does really toe that line, and it's always comedic gold. Does ESPN have the stomach to give Charles Barkley that free rope? Now that he is with now that the Inside the NBA crew is no longer on TNT, Charles Barkley will not last more than 2 seasons on ESPN. Straight facts or bro relax?
I'm actually going to say straight facts on this one. I don't trust ESPN as far as I can throw them. I don't think the show's going to be the same on ESPN. As someone who has studied sports production for the last 5 years, ESPN's no bueno. He has made some comments himself, Barkley, saying that he's not going to be there very much longer. In fact, he said something to the extent of, "I can really only give you about 2 years." So I think he'll be there for about 2 years. And to be honest, if he leaves, I'd be shocked if the rest of them don't follow suit. It wouldn't be the same without him, obviously. So I think this is going to be pretty short-lived. I think 2 years and he's going to retire.
It would be unfortunate because that chemistry that those four have is just absolutely fantastic. And I mean, I know that Shaquille O'Neal works with who is it? Candace Parker and who's that weeknight crew there? Because obviously we don't get ESPN
Vince
here in
Carter
Canada.
and them.
Vince Carter, Jamal Crawford, I think is
Jamal
there.
Crawford,
Yeah.
They just
By the way, that desk is brutal.
Oh, is it really? Because we don't watch it. We do
understand that. It's what was it, Jamal and Vince and all them.
Yeah. There's nothing there.
It's rough.
Is it really? Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad. Okay.
And all four of those guys, they're each like Charles, is the most valuable, but all of them, Ernie Johnson included, just they're the most professionally unprofessional people on TV.
Very
and
well.
They do
put.
it beautifully.
Yeah.
The thing with Barkley for me is like he kind of reminds me of the announcer from the Yankees that just left like a year or two ago, and this is like the first season that we're having with a brand new set of announcers. Like once Barkley decides to go, like it's never going to be the same, and especially if those other guys follow suit. When fans listen to the NBA on TV, those are the four voices we're so used to hearing. That I don't think anything's really going to hit the same way once that's not there anymore.
Well, I don't really. I mean, I do listen to Club 520. Neel actually, he said it in passing on a previous episode about Club 520, and they're pretty good. Now, their language is really rough, and it's very casual language. But look at Paul Bissonnette on Spitting Chicklets versus his work on TNT. I mean, you guys could answer this question better than me, but is there a podcaster out there? I mean, Patrick Beverley, for example, or do you guys see anybody who comes close to Charles Barkley in the podcast world?
It's comparing like two different fruits. It's apples and oranges.
For sure.
Charles Barkley, a lot of what he does is not deep critical analysis. It's the way he presents that analysis, which is often quite rudimentary and obvious, but his slapstick, egregious and exaggerated way of presenting his facial expressions, just his look overall, his voice. There's so many, which if you want to call them intangibles that he has that aren't really replicable just by great analysis. Because I could give you podcasts that give you unbelievable analysis, good humor, all of the elements.
Right.
But nothing quite matches inside the NBA because they also, on top of everything, have the experience of being great players. So they utilize that a lot. They have the comedic chemistry, which is probably the biggest factor they have is the comedic chemistry, the timing. They're all, so it would be hard for me to pick out a podcast. But if I had to pick one, or I'll let these guys answer first. I'll give you an answer. But I really like the Bill Simmons podcast. And he
Because
often,
truthfully, I don't listen to any podcast at all.
he brings out his buddies that are like childhood friends, a couple of them. And when they talk, there's a lot of joking going on. There's a lot of sort of, very funny stuff mixed with great analysis. So I do find that very appealing, and that sort of runs in the same vein.
Yeah, for
I gotta
me,
be honest, I don't necessarily listen to basketball podcasts. So when it comes to like sports podcasts in general, maybe I got one or two. But when it comes to basketball, I've always kind of relied on Chuck and Shaq, and those are the guys. Those are the ones I grew up with. Those are the ones I've followed as players when they played, and now announcers. So I don't necessarily have an opinion on NBA podcasters or anything like that, but just sports in general. I mean, I'm a part of a lot, so there's a lot of good ones out there. They all deserve their credit.
Tony, you were
no, I was just saying, to me, I think the special thing about that group was that they don't take themselves seriously. Very self-deprecating people, and it's sports, and you shouldn't be treating it like it's, you're covering war. And I think that's what happens with some of these other entities, that they do take it too seriously, and they do care what they say about other athletes because they want to stay in the in crowd. But these guys could care less, right? All four of them. Now, mind you, Ernie and Kenny came with a little more class, but Shaq and Chuck just didn't give a shit. They didn't care about who they alienated or not being friends with people or pissing whoever off. They didn't care. Now, I've recently gotten to a podcast. It's called Don't At Me with Dan Dockich. He's on the Outkick Network. I don't know if you guys ever get a chance to listen to him. Really distinct voice. He used to be an assistant coach with the University of Indiana under Bobby Knight, and then he coached at Bowling Green for a few years. But he's got a lot of amazing guests in the basketball world. So I get my basketball fix from that guy at the moment. I just like the way he delivers. But yeah, I don't think we'll see a crew like that again for a long time.
Who was that? I'm going to search him now.
Dan Dockich.
It's Dan Dockich. The podcast is called Don't At Me. Don't with the at. It's a part of the Outkick Network, which Clay Travis runs. They dabble in politics too.
I like that.
Yeah, they dabble in politics too. Very common sense guy. Very distinct voice. You're not gonna. He's like a bald Polish guy, but he's been around the game for a while, and he speaks a lot of common sense. And I just, I'm not a big basketball guy anyway, but I feel like I learn when I listen to him.
Well, his slogan is opinions about everything, afraid of nothing, sack up. So
sack the hell up. Yeah, that's his. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I gotta give that guy a listen. for sure.
Yeah, he's got Charles on as a regular guest as well.
Right on. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.